Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. Also make sure you turn off your hot and cold water supplies. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the LG washer gasket. It's going to be a very easy repair and it should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new gasket. The gasket is the main seal in between the outer tub and the front panel. The main reason you'd be changing it out is if it has a hole or a tear in it and you're getting water on the floor. Now we can take the top off. We're going to remove the lower screws that hold the bracket to the body. Once we get those screws out, we can pull the top off. Now we can pull the top back. You want to pull it back just about 1.5 inches so you can clear the stoppers. If you go back too far, you won't be able to lift it up because it'll hit the stoppers on the other side. So you just want to go about 1.5 inches back. Next we can pull out the detergent drawer and press down on the center and the back to release it so we can pull it all the way out. Now we can remove the 2 Phillips screws. Now we can unsnap the front control panel. There's some locking tabs that go along the whole length of it. So we're going to get those started and pull the panel off. Now that we have the console snapped off, we have 2 options. If you're just going to be working on the front here, you can swing it up out of the way. But if you need to work more inside, it's best just to disconnect it and get it out of the way. We have to disconnect these wire harnesses right here. So we're going to untwist these little holders and get the wires out. Then we can pull the wires out and disconnect them. All you have to do is find the release tab and press on it and pull it apart. Once you get them all off, you can lift the panel up a little bit, lean it forward, and feed these wires that we just disconnected through the hole, and then you can pull the panel off. Now we can open up the door and remove the clamp that holds the gasket on. There's a spring located at the bottom that we can pry off, so we want to take a small flathead screwdriver and carefully get behind it so we don't damage the gasket. Once you get behind it, you can lift it out of the groove and go all the way around the door to release the gasket. Now that we have the clamp off, we can take the gasket and kind of get it off of the front panel so it's out of the way. And then we can reach in behind the door switch and disconnect the wire harness from the door switch. Press the release tab and pull it off the switch. Now that we have that disconnected, we can close the washer door. And then we can take a small flathead screwdriver and open up this small access panel right here. It's going to come right off. There's nothing holding it on. And then we can use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the screw that holds in the trim on this panel. Once you have the screw out, we can pull this little panel out and just feed the drain plug through it. Now that we have the trim out of the way, we can remove the Phillips screw that holds the front panel on. Now we can remove the 4 screws that go across the top and hold the panel on. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take them out. When you're taking the last screw out, you want to make sure that you hold the panel onto the washer. There's nothing else really holding it on, and it may fall off. Now that you have all the screws off, we can lift the front panel off the washer. There are a few different variations of this gasket. Ours only has one hose on it at the top. There are some that also have a hose at the bottom, so you want to make sure you remove that too. we have to disconnect this hose at the top. It's attached to a little white fitting in there, so we can take a screwdriver and get it started. Once you got it loose, all you have to do is pull it off. To get the gasket off the tub, we have the same type of ring clamp that we had on the other one. We can use our flathead screwdriver and get behind the spring and pull the retaining ring off. Once you have it started off, you can just pull the whole gasket off. Here's the old gasket next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. We do have to take this white fitting out. All you have to do is press it out of the old one, and we have to swap it over and put it on the new one. When you get the new gasket, it may have a couple different places where you can actually put the hose, so you have to match it up with where your old one was. Ours was at the 12 o'clock position, right where this notch is, indicating the top of the tub. So we're going to very carefully take a knife and cut out the rubber in this hole so we can insert the fitting. Now that we have the hole cut out, we can put the fitting in. We put some water on it to make it a little bit easier. All you have to do is slide it up. And when it comes through the other side, you need to make sure that that notch is in the little cutout. When you're putting the gasket back on the washer, you want to make sure that this is at 12 o'clock, the top of the tub. And then we have to take this lip in here and put it all the way around the outside of this lip, making sure that it's seated all the way around so that when we put the spring clamp on, it seals nicely. It's kind of tough to get the feel of putting the gasket in with gloves on, so we took them off so we could put the gasket in and show you how to do it. Okay, this gasket is a little bit different than the original. They redesigned it and put this lip on here, so it's really hard to get around. So what you have to do is use both hands and really make sure that this part right here goes up in between the tubs so you can then get on the other side. Once you get that in there, then you can make sure that this is in the groove so we can put the ring clamp on. It's a little bit harder to put on than the original, but once you get that in between the two tubs, it's pretty easy to go around and do it. All right, now that we have it all the way around the groove, we can put the clamp on and get it all the way around. And you want to line it up, and you want to get it back over here to the 3 o'clock position. And then we're going to grab our vice grips and lock it onto the spring so we can stretch it up over and put the clamp on. Now that we have the rear clamp on, we can hook up the hoses, however many you happen to have on your machine. Make sure they're on nice and tight. Now we can go ahead and put the front back on. We want to take and set it onto the 3 tabs. And make sure that your hose doesn't get pinched in there. And then we can tilt it up and put in the 4 screws. Next we can put back in this cover assembly. First we can put back in the little screw that holds the front panel to it. Next we can put the trim assembly back in. We want to pull out the drain hose and put it through the hole. Snap it into place. And then we can put the screw back in. We can take the little drain hose and put it in the clip. And then we can put the front access panel on and snap it closed. Now we can reach in behind the door gasket and grab the wire harness and hook it back up to the switch. Pull the gasket out so we can attach it to the front panel. We have to go around and make sure that the gasket is in this groove, so when we put the spring clamp on, it holds it in place. All right, now we can grab the spring clamp, and we want to make sure the spring is down at 6 o'clock. Once we have it stretched around most of the way, we can put the vice grips on and very carefully stretch out the spring and get the clamp the rest of the way around. You want to make sure when you pull back on this that you pull straight back so you're not pulling out and pulling the gasket off. Now that we have it on, we can close the door. Put the console back in. We're going to feed the wires through the hole in the back panel and pull them through, and then we can rotate the panel up into place and snap it in. Now that we have the wires pulled through, we can connect them back to the main wire harness. All you have to do is snap them together and make sure they lock. And then we can reconnect them to the wire harness holders. Now that we have the console on and connected, we can put in the screws that hold the soap dispenser body. Then we can put the detergent tray back in. All you have to do is line it up and then push the release lever in so you can slide it all the way in. Now we can put the top on. You want to set it down a little bit back from the front. You want to make sure that these stoppers go into these little cutouts so they can snap into their little grooves. And we can set the top down and push it forward to lock it into place. Now we can put the screws back in that hold the brackets onto the top. Now that you're done repairing the appliance, you can plug it back in, turn the water back on, and give it a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.